Welcome back to our Groundskeeper chat series. I'm your host, Meg Kruger, and today we are taking you across the pond to talk about turfgrass with Paul Burgess. So Drew Miller hosts and moderates this conversation in Salt Lake City during the SFMA conference for another special edition Groundskeeper Chat Tiger Turf Talk collaboration episode. And Drew is joined by Paul to talk a little bit about what it's been like to spend decades managing the pitches for teams like Arsenal FC and Real Madrid FC before becoming a pitch consultant for currently AC Monaco. And we talk a little bit about, like I said, turfgrass across the pond. They touch on bringing the World Cup to the United States, Paul's current project with AC Monaco, the building blocks of a successful football pitch, and then some of the cool components of a pitch manager's role in athlete safety and playability. So without further ado, I'll let the two gentlemen take it away. Enjoy this week's episode.
Back here at the Pioneer booth here in Salt Lake City with an absolute legend. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's so great to meet you in person. How's the trip over?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been very good. Always a bit of a tough one first couple of days, adapting to the time difference.
Mine's only 2 hours. I can't imagine what yours is. So,
and the company I hang out with like to stay out late as well. So,
yes, they do, yeah.
No, it's been good. It's been really good so far.
That's great. What are you looking forward to? Obviously, it's a sort of a different organization when it comes to, is it Saltex over there?
Yeah, Saltex, yeah.
So Saltex versus SFMA, and you've always been involved in SFMA for a long time. What are you always looking forward to coming over to the States and everything?
For me, it's more about networking and catching up with suppliers and just meeting up with new guys and people in similar positions and just brainstorming and sharing ideas and just bouncing ideas off people, catching up, having a beer and just having a good time. Really.
Sorry, I couldn't find the English. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No English, not happy about that.
I definitely researched it. I was like, why is it not in the middle of the country? Like, what is going on?
This used to be on the criteria of selecting the location in the future.
We'll let the president, we'll let her know. Like, this has to happen.
I think next year we're in Daytona Beach.
Yes,
so
which it should be there. Are you going to be there? Okay.
I'll be there.
I'll be buying you. I'll buy you a case of it.
That's in Union territory,
yes,
so
sure,
all good,
sure.
all good.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to what you're doing now, last time we talked, it was working at AS Monaco, which you probably still are. It is just absolutely gorgeous. You know, the whole facility and everything that goes into it. And we got into all like the microclimates and all the fact that there's a mountainside, cliff.
Yeah.
It has these factors into what you're doing. What has it been like, again, working on these different projects and everything that you're doing?
Yeah, no, it's good. Obviously, it's not the biggest facility in the world. It's
probably the most beautiful facility.
Probably one of the most unique facilities.
Yes, for sure.
What was quite interesting was the logistics behind it, because the access, bringing in sand and gravel, and the access is very, very small. So all materials were double handled from big trucks into small trucks, and then we had to keep the site operational while we were doing it. So it was a bit of a game of Jenga, really.
It was like, hey, we practice here, we're going to come over here.
Yeah.
Just make sure you avoid this, yeah.
And then there were sticks of dynamite was involved as well. So
I can tell you that's not probably normal for most turfgrass managers.
Yeah, so to be fair, I can't take credit for that, but I still had to hide a few times.
I see you just like holding a stick of dynamite, lighting it up.
No, it was quite interesting to see the whole process of how they're securing the rock face and obviously blowing it up and stuff like this. So it was quite, it was good fun.
Yeah, I would be sitting in the office like, okay, are we going down the hill? Are we good? Do we blasting stuff for the day? Is there any other big projects you got coming up that you're really excited about?
Yeah, possibly.
That we're allowed to talk about. Sorry.
Yeah, no. The ownership of AS Monaco also owns a team in the Belgium First League, a club called Cercle Bruges. So I head over there once a month just to keep an eye on things and speak to the guys very regularly. And we are potentially going to be building a provisional training facility and a long-term training facility, and possibly a new stadium as well. So
that's incredible.
But at the moment, we share the same stadium with Club Bruges,
Gotcha.
and our practice facility is next to the stadium, and Club Brugge basically wants to build a new stadium on our training facility. So
That's always good.
yeah,
So figure out where you're going to practice, because guess what?
we're waiting on our rivals to get the planning permission for this to happen, and then everything basically just domino effects from there. So
that's so exciting.
well, the decision is it's actually maybe today.
Whoa, watch out! Maybe it'll get it right.
It comes on a Thursday, so it was meant to be last Thursday. It didn't happen. So
Seems to be the world.
I've not received any messages yet, and in Europe now we're end of the day, so maybe it now passes to next Thursday. So
You gotta love how the world's working. It's gonna be there this date.
yeah, so
3 weeks after.
that's when all the planning decisions are made on a Thursday.
So with all the planning process and everything that goes into that, again, you being the top professional in your craft with everything over there, what are you looking at when it comes to development of how the pitch is going to be at the highest possible quality based on the facility itself and based on like maybe a stadium? Now, obviously, overhead coverage is always critical when it comes to fan experience, and then you dealing with all
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different things. One is obviously the site specific. What challenges does the site have?
Mhm.
Like, for instance, this site is very, very wet, and we have problems with discharging drainage water into the local water courses because it's quite a wet place, Belgium. And so that's one of the issues. Then we have to look at how many teams we're going to be using the facility, who's going to be on natural grass, who's going to be on artificial grass. Then we have to look at the budgets. Circle Brugge doesn't have the same size budget, say, of AS Monaco or another bigger team.
for sure.
So we're just at the moment we've identified all the problems. We started to put together all the specifications for the pitches. We've come across some legislation which
Always interesting.
which doesn't help in terms of irrigation water and drainage discharge. So we've got to retain a lot of water on the site, which costs money. So yeah, we're just at that process now, and then at the same time, because they want to start on the stadium immediately, we have to go to a temporary facility for 1 year where we build the site, and the temporary facility is not up to the level that we require. So that means immediate work will begin as soon as we get the decision. Within a month, we will begin work on 2 projects. One on the provisional one, which we need to turn around in 2-3 months, and one in the main one, which we will have 12 months basically to fix.
I mean, the knowledge that you have to have for all this is absolutely incredible. And just me being, again, a high school teacher and not having a budget and all these things, I'm just like, how do you know all this? How do you come up with like making those decisions? And, when it comes to these projects, there are so many different factors. What is it like sort of being a part of the group that, again, makes the decisions, has those different parameters? Maybe structurally for the stadium needs something compared to what you need, and it's sort of like, well, both can't happen, and certain things. What is it like working with others sort of outside of that turf side of things?
Yeah, no, it's nice. Obviously, in my previous job in Madrid, I was involved in a major engineering job with the
They're building it right now, right?
which they're building right now, and I was obviously very frustrated with that.
100%.
Hence the outcome that I no longer work there. So it can be frustrating because sometimes you're not in total control of your destiny. But when you're not in control, you've got to try and get people to come on the same journey. And some projects are easier than others. Some people are easier than others. It's just it depends a bit on the project and what's at stake.
Absolutely. I'm in a public education system, so nothing really goes my way. So if it helps you with that, it's definitely hard to get people on.
Yeah, so no, I mean it's good. I mean,
No, absolutely.
there's no one day the same, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy maintenance
Absolutely.
but I do like projects and creating things, and when it's finished, you can look at it and go, yeah, I played a big part in that,
Absolutely. I mean, those moments are huge.
Yeah, they're nice. And I mean, I can go to London and I'll see the Emirates Stadium, and I can see the shape of the roof and the shape of the seating bowl, and I can go, I had an influence on that. It's cool. So.
That's just odd. You just drive on like one of the biggest stadiums in the world. You're like, I did that. You know?
So yeah, you can have influence on the skyline of a city.
That's so cool. That's absolutely incredible. Definitely something to put on the resume. You know, just put a picture like we worked on that. You know, when it comes to again consulting and everything, what is the major aspects of the pitch that you're focusing on? Pretty much post construction. Obviously, someone's going to come in and maintain that pitch that you create. What are you focusing on to get that end result for that pitch manager moving forward?
Well, you need to protect the asset, so you need to make sure the staff are well trained. You've got all the machinery to do the job, like the proper renovation processes, and it can be more challenging at a club like Cercle Bruges because, like I say, the budgets are less. But I do try to do all the work in house. I try not to rely on outside help, because basically you're in control of your own destiny and timings and stuff like this. But sometimes budgets don't allow for that, but I've seen it so many times where teams and clubs and venues have spent millions on projects and then they don't protect the asset, and it's just short-sighted and in the end more expensive.
Yeah, that's all. And that's something that, I mean, that's on all levels and all areas of the world, is the frustration of, obviously, you're one of the best professionals in this industry, and you can't get people to listen to what you're trying to say, and they're like, well, we'll take care of it on the back end. I was like, well, the back end is like 4 times expensive as in the front end, so it looks like a large number, but it isn't in the long term, you know?
In many ways, you need to work backwards, you know?
Exactly.
You need to find out
100%.
what do you actually want, and also this influences the type of field you're constructing. Are you going to construct a hybrid carpet where you can change out the sod quite easy, or natural, or are you going to go for a stitch system? And sometimes, quite often I'll see venues where they don't put the right system in the venue. No, all these systems are good systems, but they're not good if they're not in the right location. Yeah.
What, again, there are so many different systems over there and what you're doing. What do you think when it comes to the system, location-wise, what are those sort of impacting decisions? You know, there are so many things that go into it, and based on climate, based on weather, based on elevation, things like that. What are some of those factors that lead to a different type of system, if it's stitched or hybrid or whatnot? Yeah. You guys are professionals on all of those things, and they're starting to try and build them here.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, you need to, if you haven't got a window to do a proper renovation at the end of the playing season, then I wouldn't go for a stitch system, for example. If the business plan of the venue is not so clear in terms of when you'll be doing concerts or other non-turf events, then I'd want to build flexibility into the pitch construction and go for a sod option or reinforced sod. And then also you've got to look a little bit like where in what competition are you playing? Are you in a competition where all your rivals are playing on hybrid, or all your rivals playing on Bermuda? So all these things are, they are factors. And like, for example, if the rivals on Bermuda, are you in a zone where you can choose between cool and warm? And so do you go for the cool option? Do you go for the warm option? So there's various factors to think about.
Absolutely. And obviously with your consulting, you're going to bottom parts of Europe, to Belgium. I could be wrong. It's on the northern end of Europe, right?
Yeah.
Obviously below like Finland and all.
Yeah. No, it's just.
See, I remember geography 17 years ago.
It's very, very wet.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like UK climate.
Gotcha.
It's not far from the UK. Really.
I was going to say it's
just across the water. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when it comes to all these different jobs, are you influenced by location, or are you always looking for a new challenge? Is there different things that you're focusing on? Because when you take on a job, obviously you want to do the job well, and you want to understand, like, this is something that I'm going to be spending the next how many ever years, What is your sort of process when it comes to stuff like that?
It needs to be a project that, is of interest and what makes you want to get out of bed in the morning. And I do like working in foreign countries and different cultures and different challenges and different, just like Spain, for example, was a different, the workforce, the the way of thinking is totally different, say in Monaco and Belgium also. So you just got to try and embrace it. And sometimes it's challenging because of the language barriers. Sometimes now I speak Spanish, so that's okay. I don't speak French, so but like for example, in Monaco, it's very, very English, widely spoken.
Yes,
and Belgium they speak English, so
it's helpful, right?
Yeah, it's very helpful. So yeah, I was talking to Alan Ferguson the other day about the World Cup in the US and Mexico and in Canada, and he's going to have a language issue there
for sure.
Is English and Spanish, and like for example in Qatar, he was dealing with with English speaking basically. Yeah, everyone was pretty much English speaking. So it is a challenge, but it's one to overcome.
Face head on. Now you bring up Allen and FIFA. We had Sorokin and Rogers and all of them on earlier. What's sort of your take on the World Cup coming here? Everything. What do you think some of the challenges they're going to face? What do you think, from your professional opinion, what you are seeing sort of moving forward in the next 4 years leading up to that?
Well, I think it's in a good place. You've got with Trey and John doing some good research. All the products and technologies out there. It's just a case of getting the right combination. And I mean, like personally, when you see the 5 indoor stadiums, I think they'll be the most consistent stadiums because they're controlled. The biggest challenge would be Toronto and probably Mexico City, because you've got 2 totally different grass types probably and climate conditions. So they're probably the least consistent. And that's not criticism of the venues. It's just geography.
I mean, it's the cold Arctic Canada versus the equatorial temperature in Mexico.
And then as a rule, normally the top soccer teams, they prefer to play on cool season grass. So I don't know what the plan is, but I would have thought there'll be more venues on cool season and even places like Dallas and Houston, you can get away with that because I
think the most will be
So the only anomalies will be probably Miami and the Mexican venues, I guess. But I don't know. I didn't speak into any detail.
No, for sure.
I don't think your take. I don't think they even know. I think
I could agree with that.
I think that's all part of the testing process in the next couple of years. But no, it's good, and I just hope that the World Cup's coming to the US, and the sad thing is that none of the soccer venues are being used.
Yeah.
So I hope the soccer guys get to support the event, because it would be a shame if that wasn't the case.
So with MLS, everything that's going on in the United States, they're becoming much more prevalent, bigger, and obviously not big to the point where they're hosting the World Cup, but their stadiums are pretty incredible. A lot of the facilities that are coming in are really well done, and a lot of it's, again, sort of mimicking the Premier League standard.
Yeah.
What is sort of your take on what they're doing and sort of the movement of MLS in sort of where they're going?
Well, I think the growth in the last 10 years is incredible.
Yeah.
And I love the stadiums. They're quite the design of them's quite different to European stadiums in terms of like the fan experience, and I really like them actually. And the one big difference is in the MLS, they're playing in the summer, so it's a lot more difficult to do the end of season renovations that I spoke about in the past. And then we've got and then obviously because the level of money is not the same level as say in the English Premier League, you're getting a lot more events, inside the playing season. So for the MLS guys, it's pretty challenging.
Absolutely. And it's, again, the things that have come from your work, I believe you were one of the first people to introduce artificial lighting to people in the U.S. and everything. What are some of those things that you've seen in your career, sort of, whether it's grow, have changes that have really impacts, not just here in the U.S., but also abroad in the U.K. and everywhere in Europe?
Well, I'd say 3 real big ones really. One is the grow lights. One I'd say is the hybrid systems, which is still quite not so as developed, say here than say in Europe, in the US. And then the final one I'd say is the range of machinery to overcome the different problems, and especially the field top maker or his competitors, to protect the asset and just get a full life out of it. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Now, something that, again, the Premier League has done a phenomenal job, and other leagues, again, I don't know all their names, apologies, they really focus on the player safety aspect. And I'm not saying we don't here in the U.S., but when it comes to artificial turf and certain things, like, that's never been an option for them, just because, again, what they believe is safe and what everything's going on. What's been your experience sort of with players, what they're doing, and how you're interacting with them sort of to, again, get to the point where, like, obviously you're maintaining so many incredible pitches at the highest level to where you're now consulting to create those pitches so they match that highest level for those players, and sort of how their sort of feedback.
I mean, I've never actually seen any data on the injury side of things, but I was told by the medical department in Real Madrid that in my first year I reduced the injury bill by 40%.
That's incredible.
And when you've got a player earning $500,000 a week, it's pretty significant.
Pretty nice, right?
It'd be nice to get a bit of kickback from that.
Real nice, right?
But
Just 2%. We'll take the out of it every week, you know?
But and yeah, I mean the players they're like sports cars, you know, they're very temperamental. They can
I love that.
they're finely tuned.
Great.
So one little cog that doesn't work properly, the whole thing goes down. You know, so yeah, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of pressure. The players, all the teams are investing so much money to get that extra 1%. You know, they're using psychologists, they're using they monitor sleep, they monitor everything they do. They obviously the diets. So to do all that and then not have the correct surface to play the games on, and not only to play the games on, but also to train. The training pitch is probably more important than
Absolutely.
the stadium. That's where they spend 95% of their time. So
Absolutely.
so there is a big importance. I don't know whether a lot of teams don't recognise that until there's a problem.
That's a sad truth.
Yeah, that is a sad truth. Yeah, it's a sad truth. And will that change anytime soon? I don't know. But hopefully, because the more things like that put the focus more on our industry, the more our industry will grow, and
Absolutely.
and obviously the salaries will increase as well. You know, so yeah. So I mean, like things like seeing FIFA powering a load of money into the US the World Cup. It's great because everyone in this hall will benefit one way or another from that. So yeah.
So you're mentioning, obviously, there are so many different aspects of an athlete, whether they're monitoring the food, the actual, like, body, what's going on when it comes to interacting with the surface and other things. What is sort of your role as a pitch manager and your time specifically when you're doing it, working with those different groups, working with the player development, working with the different departments of the team, and sort of getting feedback in a sense of, okay, this is where we're trying to improve, and this is how you've helped us improve these areas. Like you said, that's incredible that was in your first year. You know?
Yeah.
What are some of those relationships like, and how do you sort of see that have an impact on what you did day to day?
It depends a little bit on the personality of the athlete in question. You know, some put a lot of focus on it, some put less. Same goes for the coaching staff. Some put more on, some put less. As a turf manager, when I'm watching a game or practice, I'm looking at the body language of the player. Is he comfortable with the pitch? Is his mind on the game, or is his mind on is the ball going to bobble, or this type of thing? I'm looking at if the player's slipping and how his interaction with the pitch. Obviously, hardness we can test quite easy. I mean, but I can walk on a field and tell you the hardness without even using the machine. Well, give or take.
You give or take half a point.
Yeah. And also define hardness. I mean, when I was at Real Madrid, they like the pitch set up pretty soft. In Monaco, I have it set up a bit harder, and I don't get more negative comments in one place or another. It's just it depends on the group of athletes your preference. Oh, yeah. So
yeah, it's when I worked up in New York, my boss taught me an MLB groundskeeper is probably impacts at least 5 wins or losses per year. You know, whether that's maintaining the infield skid differently because the team coming in is a fast team and you water a little bit heavier. It's so cool, and I think that's one of the aspects of our industry that we really don't highlight enough is the impact you really do have on the actual game.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, once that in the soccer game, for example, once the whistle blows for the game, the only influence outside of those athletes is the actual pitch, you know, and the grass. And also in soccer, it's quite common, for example, at halftime to irrigate the field or not. So you're actually playing a part in the tactics, you know, and I've had some pretty interesting times with managers. Well, I can remember years ago we had Jose Mourinho was our coach, and we were in a moment where our biggest rival Barcelona was particularly strong, and we were less strong, and so we started to do some pretty crazy things to the field, and
that's got to be fun.
And,
you're really nervous, but
I didn't enjoy it, to be honest, because I always like to try and create the optimum surface, but again, define optimum. You know, if we lose 4-0, and then the field's not optimum, you know, it hasn't played.
Don't you love how it like changes? Like this worked last time. Why aren't we changing this?
So I mean, 9 times out of 10, with when you're working for a bigger team, they tend to set up the field to suit their own needs, not those of the opposition. But if you're working for a smaller team or weaker team, then you start to look at every single aspect of how can we gain an advantage against the opposition. But like I say, most of the time I've been involved with larger teams, so it's been more a case of what suits us rather than what do they not like
within the parameters of like what the league allows.
Yeah. I mean, each year they tie in a little bit of regulation, so that there's a little bit less and less influence in terms of the tactical side of it that groundskeepers can influence. But you know, each year they're trying to go more and more for more uniformity, and which I think is a good thing, you know. Yeah, so that's.
I mean, it's just awesome to have those opportunities to really be a part of the game. You know, like SFMA, where the game begins. You know, there's just so many truths to that. You know, you don't really take that into account, and it's it's so cool to be able to, you know, showcase that to people and say, hey, this is really like incredible.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously when things are going well and you play a big game, 82,000 fans in the stadium, and the team win, and the pitch has been looks great, and yeah, you go home and you're buzzing. You know, it's like you can't sleep.
Yeah, like I gotta get back out there.
Yeah, you know, you just like
gonna have that feeling.
Sometimes I'd go home and I'd be wide awake until 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
so yeah, it depends. And then obviously there's other times when you have difficulties with the field, and it's nowhere to hide. You know, you've got like for example, in the Bernabeu, every 10 days we'd have 82,000 fans sat around the 18th green of a Ryder Cup, basically.
Yeah.
So, you know, the Ryder Cup is every 3 or 4 years, and we've got a Ryder Cup every 10 days. And
that's awesome.
And where the Ryder Cup, for example, is shown in 2 continents, there's not many Chinese people watching the Ryder Cup, but a big soccer match,
fans,
billions watching it around the world, you know. So
that's I love how different people look at things differently. You know, having like no one really thinks like that. That's just a great way. I mean, just to like bring more people into this industry. A Ryder Cup every day. Come on, like who wouldn't want that? You know.
Yeah.
So,
but like I say, you know, it's great when things are good, and it's not so great when things are going bad. And thankfully, I've had more good days than bad. But
that is always good. It's always glad to hear too. You know. Anything exciting in the near future that you can sort of share when it comes to everything across the pond?
Not really. I mean, at some point, I want to maybe get back into the big time again, like I see.
Best moves, maybe. Sir?
No, there's nothing.
There's nothing in the works.
Not really, no. But at some point,
That itch is nice.
yeah.
So sure.
We'll see what comes up. I mean, it's very difficult because in reality, it's a very small world that I'm operating in, you know, and there's plenty of people who are pretty competent at their jobs and
not going anywhere
and tend to stay in their venues for a long time.
For sure.
So we'll see. Watch this space.
Absolutely. When it comes to sort of,
well, I've been a little bit quiet, as well on social media and stuff in the last couple of years. So I might come out of retirement in the next few months and start to sort of share more things with people. I just
incredible.
After the roller coaster of 13 years in the Premier League and 12 years at Real Madrid, just a couple of years, just
a little high on this. Take a deep breath.
A little bit of time out, and it wasn't exactly time out, but.
Building a facility.
But it'd be good to. I will definitely be making some noise again in the near future, and I love giving something back. You know, because the industry's been very kind to me, so I like to give some back and share my stories with people. You know,
absolutely. So me and a friend of mine, Leah Withrow, gave a presentation on sort of how social media plays a really big role in like the influence of what your career is on the people around you, and really the one thing is that next generation, you know.
Yeah, this for me, this is a real one of my biggest frustrations in my career is probably speaking. For me, is I'm totally scared of it. I can't.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
No,
I don't like it either.
But I can't even get on the stage. That's how bad it is. I can do karaoke after like 20 Inglings, but but I was good. And over the years, I've had some pretty good stories to share with people.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, I've not been able to share them in the way I would have liked.
Yeah.
But I've got my messages across for times.
Social media is a great way to do it, you know. And one of the big things, like with that next generation, what have you sort of seen again in the European world when it comes to seeing that next level? I mean, pitch managers coming out from whether it's programs at colleges, whether that's just apprenticeships. What has sort of been your viewpoint on that, and how we can sort of improve even that in Europe?
One criticism I would have is people want things too quickly. You know, that they come out of college and they expect to be given everything on the plate. And I mean, I was pretty lucky that I got through the pyramid pretty quickly. But you know, I worked hard for that. And I took my chances when they come, but I think nowadays there's definitely a culture of I want it now.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
I don't think. I think it's probably a life thing, not just
it's not a job or.
I think it's just a
mindset for.
I sound like an old man now talking.
Oh no, you're not.
Sorry,
we're good.
So no, I think people need to be a little bit more patient, and also you need to make some mistakes as well. You know, and it's better to make the mistakes as an assistant or. Before taking the big job, and the more experience you have, I think the more prepared you are. And also, I remember 10 years ago, I was a lot more, I wouldn't say angry is the right word, or maybe a little more aggressive, very protective.
Yeah.
And my decision making now is far more balanced, I'd say now. And so yeah, I think people just need to take their time and grow up slowly.
Yeah, sure. Well, I want to thank you again for taking the time. It's always a great time talking.
No problem. So it's good to see you.
It's great to meet you. Okay. I will have those Yinglings next.
Okay, listen, enjoy the rest of the show.
Yes, you too.